Hey guys, Youngblood with you for a follow-up on the Youngblood's Guide to the Galaxy, where we're going to be doing the tips and tactics for the Transport Galaxy. If you haven't seen the first video where I talked about the build, head on over to the outro where there's the link where you can actually go and see that first video, or just watch it afterwards, whichever you prefer. So when we talk about just general tips, if you're flying with multiple galaxies and have squads split up between them, which is really going to be pretty common in outfits, be sure that you specify which galaxy should actually be dropping. It's really all too common to hear someone say in Mumble or TeamSpeak, drop, and the people from the wrong galaxy drop in the middle of nowhere because they weren't paying attention. So instead, kind of avoid that by saying Galaxy 1, drop, or Youngblood's Gal, drop. Whatever it is, you can always encourage your passengers to switch over to third person if they're not in a gun. Basically what this is going to do is it's going to give them an overhead view of the drop zone, so they can know on their own if they're over a safe landing spot or not. You really want to try and keep an eye on your health as you enter the zone and how many different threats and opponents there are. Especially at non-tech plants, you really want to try and keep your galaxy if possible because you can't pull another one from that location. That being said, it's going to depend on how much damage you've taken on the approach, and you need to know if there's a safe landing spot available or not. If there is one, great. Get to the ground, start repairing while your crew takes the base, and then you guys can take off again. Again, ideally you're going to be behind some sort of cover in order for that to happen. If it's not, go ahead and drop with your team and just be ready to move out in some other way, especially if you're the squad leader. You don't want to die with the galaxy, go down with the ship, and then your squad loses the ability for redeploys and new beacons. Now, there's an interesting choice that you have to make when it comes to your flying altitude. You can either fly really high, which is going to help you avoid lock-ons, and it's going to make it difficult for flak to hit you, if possible at all. Or you can kind of fly at a mid-height. Flying low is fun, it can be interesting, but it's also very situational. If you fly too low, even with the canyon cover, which is some of my favorite flying because it's fun, you're also going to be very likely to be blasted by armor if it's in the area, and that's a pretty quick way to die. So, if you fly high, you're avoiding a lot of threats, which is great, but keep in mind where your primary AA turrets are. They're going to be on the top and back of your vehicle. So if someone's attacking you from below, like a pesky ESF, your only real option is to drop altitude and get your gunners in positions. Now, yes, your bulldogs on the wings can do some damage, but a smart ESF pilot is going to stay far enough away where that's going to be kind of tough to do. Either way, if you're flying high, you need to make sure that you're dropping in quickly when you're approaching the target, almost in a dive bomb type formation. And basically what that's going to do is it's going to make it easier for your folks to actually hit the target and for them not to die. I personally prefer to go in fast around the kind of the middle altitude level. It keeps all your gunners engaged. Racer 3 is going to get me there quick enough, and I generally have enough health where the tactics aren't really necessary. Either way, you need to kind of adapt to the situation and know what you're getting into. Drop. Good boys.
Scow, you're up second. Drop in 3, 2, 1. Drop, drop, drop.
Flexo's gal, you don't have to drop. I'm putting you on top. I'll land you nice and safe.
Lucky on drop.
Now, specific drop zones depend on the type of facility and really the current situation that's going on there. It's always good to have someone fly ahead in an ESF or have someone on foot at that location to kind of give you a heads up of what's going on. But if not, you just need to be ready to call an audible when you get to that location to change up your drop location if it's not right. So, for example, if you're engaging a tech plant but all the shields are still up, it's still going to be useful to drop on the top and work down towards the capture point. That being said, if the shields are up and you have a large armor zerg that's waiting, probably with some Sundies around and more infantry support, you're missing out on some good help that could be coming in to help you engage and take that base. So if that's the situation, it may be worth it to drop on the 2 shield gens to get them to fall, and then you can get your armor involved in the fight as well. Keep in mind that the enemies spawn closer to the shields, though, so if you are going to be engaging the shields, it's going to be really important to have a good balance of support classes like engineers and medics to help kind of keep yourself up and running against a sustained enemy force. Alright, so I've just thrown up an image of a tech plant, and I've highlighted the best approach in red, at least in my mind. If you attack from the front or the rear of the tower, all the guns are going to have a chance to get their damage on you. And especially if you've taken damage on the way in, you're going to be pretty likely to die. Now, it's a smooth approach, and you don't really need to plan to keep your galaxy. This normally doesn't really matter at all. I mean, it has enough health where you can just kind of barrel on in. Best practice, though, is to come in from the side of the tower because it's going to be more challenging for all the guns to target you. And it's really going to limit the number of guns that can do so in any situation. So you're also going to be providing your passengers with a larger landing space coming in from the side, meaning more of your folks are going to have an opportunity to actually land on the roof and put down beacons and, not fall into bad situations. You can also try and park your Galaxy on the roof if you want to, but honestly, the guns are still going to be able to shoot up at you, and with how long these things take to capture, you could really just pull another Galaxy from the tech plant once you cap it. This is where I wanted to give a quick public service announcement, unrelated slightly, but please, for the love of all that's good and holy, please repair the facility before you leave. On this image, you could also see that I've highlighted some shield locations. Typically, they're going to be in buildings and these placements with these types of designs. Like I said, I normally advocate for roof drops, but if you have armor waiting to help and they can't get it done on the shields alone, the airdrop's going to be extremely effective in helping them out. When we talk about attacking tower bases, what we see most frequently is dropping on the top. Now, that can be useful, but if the home team there really has the light assaults, even your best placed beacons are going to end up being destroyed. So, I generally prefer to drop on the outlying points and work your way into the tower. If you have multiple galaxies, be sure that you're divvying up the workload and attacking multiple points. Not only is it going to help to confuse the enemies and as to which target they should go towards first, but it's going to help flip the point a little bit faster. So, due to the diversity of the towers in the game, there's going to be a lot of different locations for points, but I've highlighted some of them for you on a general tower design. Again, it's going to be good to have a scout to give you a heads up, whether that be a ESF or someone on foot. But if not, be sure to have a passenger looking at the map, and you keep an eye on the points once you're in the territory, so you can know if you need to adjust your flight plan or not. I'm not really going to cover drops into biolabs or amp stations. Reason being, with biolabs, you can either drop on the top or land on the pad. You can also work on the outliers, and that's really probably the option that should be your priority. That way you're going to have those extra teleporters to work your way inside. Outside of that, with amp stations, you can land on the top and filter down, but that's going to be pretty useless until you take out those shields. And if you're landing on the top and trying to work your way to those shields, it's going to be tough. So, the shield gens are going to be your main focus, and since I love you guys, I went ahead and threw up a image so you can see where those are generally located. Just like with the towers, make sure you know what's actually taken and what you need to work on as you're approaching, and drop on the ones that are going to give your team the best results. So that's pretty much it for this episode. I think for the next Galaxy Guide, I'll probably move into Battle Galaxy. So if you have any tips, tricks, questions about that, go ahead and get them in. Otherwise, stay tuned for more content. Give this a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will talk to you guys later. Take care.